Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream. My name is Denise Hutchins and I'm broadcasting to you from Studio Mikarts. Our charity of the month is Tower Hill Stables Animal Sanctuary. You can help me help them in two ways. One, just watch my stream and bring your friends, because I will be making a donation at the end of the month based on my unique viewers count. You can also donate directly to our fundraiser here on Twitch, so please do so if you can. Our wonderful wolf has already helped us meet the goal, but let's try to exceed it. That's awesome. It is Wednesday, which means it's time for illustration work, and I am returning to my lovely Summer Gryphon. I have 3 weeks left of summer to finish this if I want to finish it in the summer. So I really am going to focus on this as much as possible. What am I trying to say? I'm not sure what I'm working on today, actually, because it's been so long. I actually realized just now I don't have my paint out. Get my paint out. Yay! Here's my nice big, you can see this, my new camera. For anyone who has watched my streams before will notice a huge change here in my setup. I've got this awesome new camera that I can adjust freely, and you just turn it and you can angle it and you can move it up and down. I just realized my overhead light is on, and I like to have that off because it makes the shadow from my hand stronger. Turn that off. Boom. So there's still a shadow, but it's not quite as much. At least it's only one light casting a shadow instead of yet another light behind my head. Okay, so by being able to lift up the camera like that, it means I can show you my entire palette, because it's bigger. It's bigger than my painting, so you can see my palette. I'm actually going to be setting this on the desk to my side, though, because that's the only place where there's enough room for it to sit. And actually, I've got to move some stuff because there's not room. Okay, scoot this stuff over to the right, and then there's room to the left. There we go. Okay, so straighten up my stuff. I figure I'll keep this a little more zoomed in. Let's see, is that straight though? This is straight on my desk, but this is not straight, so let's fix it. Whee! I could change my other cameras too, but they weren't so flexible as this one. This one you can just do whatever all the time. I guess I will introduce my new setup before I actually get started on my illustration. So now we have the new primary camera. It's a Logitech, what is it called? It's a Logitech Reach StreamCam. And my wonderful husband got it for me. Thank you, husband! He pre-ordered it for me last year, and it finally came a couple weeks ago. But of course I was in the midst of COVID and all this other stuff that we've been dealing with, so I haven't been able to get it set up until this week. Hi! So this is the first day actually using it. We've got all the cables set up for it, and so it's got really good white balance. And then it just instantly, the only thing that I've noticed so far that I can't really figure out is if it's raised all the way up, then it doesn't really focus properly down here. But at this level, it's like right now the camera head is right at my eye level. This level does great. And then say like, I want to show you a brush. Oh, look at that. It's just immediately switches. And then, look at that. It focused right back down on the bottom. So we've got this wonderful new primary camera. Well, I didn't want my other cameras to go to waste. So my previous primary camera is now here, this secondary camera. This one. Hello. And so now you can see the cool watercolor swirls when I'm rinsing my brushes in the water. And you could just See how dirty the water gets over the course of 3 hours or whatever. You can see the brushes I'm using. Well, you can't actually see them that well because it's dark on dark, but here they are. And my towel, and you know, this is also where I pull out my pens. They're right here. You can't really... here's one. You can see the shadow of one pen right here. I have my little pen rack back here, so during Chibi Friday or some other media, you'll be able to see my media over here. Because I'm left-handed, so I like to keep the media over here if possible. Then finally, what used to be my secondary camera is now my tertiary camera. Oh, if I can point. It's this. Look, there it is. This window down here on the bottom right is now my tertiary camera. This camera, hello. And it's doing the same job that it was, giving a interesting different angle, this side, low side view angle of working on the main piece. So that's what those cameras are doing. On the top left here, we have a slideshow of my most recent chibis going back to, I think 2020 is the oldest one that I've included. So we've got this fun slideshow of chibis. Then of course the chat is over here. We're basically same spot, it's just a different shape. And then I've included different information at the top and the bottom. It's not that different from what I used to have, but just organized in a different way and with a little bit extra information. So that's the new setup. Yay! I'm really glad. The biggest thing that is really exciting about this setup, aside from super high quality, awesome streaming camera, is that now my entire workspace, there's nothing covering it. Because for the past however many years, when I first started streaming, I just had the camera. Then I added that banner. Then I added a chat box. Then I added all this other stuff. And I just kept slapping it on top because it takes a long time. It took me 3 hours today and 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 6 hours yesterday to get all this stuff done. All the graphic design, all the technical stuff, all the logistical stuff. So I had previously just been slapping stuff together just to have something that works. But with this third camera, it wasn't going to be so easy to just slap another camera view on there. So I completely redesigned it, and so I'm super excited because I think it looks really nice. It looks really professional. And it even looks really good with this particular artwork. Here's one of the cool things with this camera. So this is as far down as this camera goes. So I still might hold this up to show details. But look at that. You can really see. It is having a shadow cast by the camera head itself. So I have to move my lamps. Move my lamps down. I'll move my lamps in front of my face. Then you can see it with no shadow. Anyway, I'm sort of experimenting as I'm sitting here. Because there's so much I can do. I can raise this camera up. I can turn it. I can point it in different directions. If I want to point it that way. Point it that way. I can do that. Okay. I'm messing around with it, and I need to put it back so it's straight again. Boop. I hold these down because the paper is curling. There, you can see how it's curling because of the watercolor. So if I hold these down, then I can see, is it straight? Or actually, it's not straight. Well, I'm messing with it, and I kind of want to lower it anyway. This is too high. That zippy sound is the sound of the camera. Makes a zippy sound. Yeah, I think that level of zoom is nice. We'll stick with that for now. Okay, let's see. Where do I want to start? I don't remember what the last thing I did was. I do feel like I want to add more stuff to the background. I I remember I kept saying, I don't want to mess with the background, I don't want to mess with the background, but it's just so light. It's too light. When I look at my reference image for the sunflowers, they are not that light. That area is actually pretty dark. I wish my thingy would... I'm trying to look at the sunflowers and it's not letting me. Okay, I gotta do this. Move this reference here. And now I can mess with the sunflowers. Okay. So, my sunflowers... Oh, I went to the wrong image. Yeah, it's a sea of dark green and yellow. What I have is a bunch of really light color because it's just that wash that I put on at the very beginning to sort of give a tone to the entire image. So maybe I'll start there. So it's just been bothering me. Even though there's plenty more shading and all kinds of stuff to be done, deepening of the colors, etc., I think it would be nice to work on that background so that it's not distracting me anymore, because I keep thinking about it and I'm not happy with it. So let's just tackle that. And it's nice, I already have this dark green color. Bring it over here and show you. Dark green color right here, mixed from before, so I'm just going to wake that up and start painting it in the background. And this will probably get confused with the sunflower stalks, but that's okay because I still have my final, well, I don't know if I'll do it final, but the next step after this, one of the next steps after I'm done with watercolor, is to use ink to add outlines in places where they could help. So this is the exact kind of place where maybe I add a little ink outline just to help the viewer. But for now, let's just color this in. I think I might switch to a bigger brush. Oh no! Okay. That's actually pretty easy, but I wonder if I should look up a dragon from Sweden. Thank you for redeeming that. Yay! Oh, dragon from Sweden. Oh no. Okay. I'm thinking in my head. Thinking. Okay. Okay, here we go. My best animal impersonation, a dragon from Sweden. I can't make an elephant sound. I don't know how to make an elephant sound. The dragon from Sweden sounds like an elephant. It's literally an elephant soundbite. I can't do it. Oh, man. Well, that's my best. I need a long trunk nose. Oh, I should look it up. I'll let that stand for now, though. Yeah, that's the best I can do from memory of the dragon called Black, right? Pretty sure that was his name. Oh, and who is this? This is a Sweden guy, isn't it? Leon. Yeah. Oh, it's hard. It's hard to make an elephant sound. I wonder if I should have used my hands around my mouth or something. I just tried to do it with my own voice box. Thank you for redeeming that. No one's redeemed one in a while. Elephant sound is so recognizable and yet so difficult to mimic. It is not easy. Kind of want to keep trying, but I won't. I'll destroy my voice. That was pretty hard, actually. That was physically difficult to make that ridiculous noise. Oh, that was fun. I'm gonna have to cough. I'm gonna have to cough from that craziness. That's a wonderful way to kick off my... I feel like this is Studio Mikarts Streaming 2.0 because of updating my visuals. Like, it's so refreshing. Using this small brush so that I can get into these little teeny tiny cracks and crevices, but it doesn't hold that much water, so I keep having to get more water to spread the pigment, and then the pigment's not spreading evenly. For the most part it's fine though, but I think I just have to get used to painting on this paper with this brush. I haven't used it too much. I've been using my 4 a lot. This one is size 1. But they're such teeny tiny little triangles like here. I want to use this smaller brush. This is already looking way better, just coloring this in with a light green wash. This is not a wash since I'm painting it bit by bit, but layer. Light green layer. So in my mind, a wash is that you put it all over the whole thing as if you're washing the page in paint. But I wonder, what is the origin? Because there's a saying, it's not even a saying, it's a turn of phrase to say something is awash in something, meaning it's covered in or drowning in, or, you know. I won't stop to look it up right now. That's the kind of thing I love to look up, but I won't do it right now. I want to finish this. I already spent a whole bunch of time getting started late on my stream and then explaining the new setup and everything. So let's keep painting. Let's keep painting. Also, I ended up taking almost 4 weeks off from streaming. Only one of those weeks was planned. So I've got a lot of catching up to do to get this done before summer is over. I couldn't get it done last summer. I don't want that to happen again. I'm glad the chat looks like it's working on the stream too. On the actual screen. On the video. Because I just resized the overlay. I didn't test it or anything. So I didn't know if it would work and like stay within the bounds and stuff. Looks like it is. Hello, El Penguin Jim! Thank you for joining me, especially on my refreshed stream. I'm so happy. Back to work. Okay. Continue to have a great day at work, I hope, except you put a little sad crying face, so I don't know if that's the case. If it's not a good day at work, I hope that it will be over soon and then you can enjoy some time off, even if it's just for the evening. Yay! I'm so happy. Have some folks popping in just to say hi. Yay! There is so much space to fill in. It is actually a bit daunting. I'm not sure what I want to do about the fact that if I color this all in green, there will be no yellow sunflowers. I wonder if what I should do is sort of enhance what's already here. So what I have with the wash is some spots with yellow, some spots with green. So I could, instead of painting the whole thing this green color, paint some yellow too, and specifically the areas where I'm already seeing a bunch of yellow, and then let them organically merge. In order to do that satisfactorily, I think I will need to start doing wet on wet painting. Otherwise we won't get that nice organic merge. I mean, it'll be organic, but there'll be a hard line in between and it won't necessarily look like a sunflower. Well, it's a moment of truth because here's the first little blotch of yellow that I've encountered so far. So let's try it. Let's see. What color? What color yellow? The cool color or the warm color yellow? Well, let's start by using this brush. It's my 1-inch wash brush and wake up one of my yellows. They go wake up. The warm. Wake up the warm yellow. I'm just going to set this right on top of my painting and do it here. Oh, but you can't see it, so let me raise up the camera. Whee, fun! Boop. Hopefully that's not disorienting, but me messing with the camera, but that color's looking pretty good. So I'm brushing it and brushing it because the more I brush it, the more pigment comes off the dry paint and mixes with the water. Okay. And now I shall tap the brush, trying to get as much paint out of the brush as possible. And then, ooh, watch this. Camera over here. Here we go. We're going to put a bunch of paint in the water. Watch it swirl. Yeah. It's so fun. It's so fun. You could just do that for fun. Just like have a bowl of water. Have some pigment. You could probably just use pigment powder and just drop it in there. Watch it swirl. Relaxing. No end, just the means. Whew. It doesn't smell bad exactly, but that paint is giving off a scent. Interesting. All my paints are non-toxic, so I'm not worried about it. Classically, paints, and still today, they are available using heavy metals. So, I don't want any of that. Alright, my yellow is good. But if I'm going to do it like this, I need to wake this green up properly. So I'm going to take this big brush and do that. Okay. My desk is at an angle, that's why the paint is flowing down to the bottom. I'm going to put this back over to my left in a minute. First, just trying to get as much green off as possible. Alright, that's going to have to be good enough. Okay, time for some green squirrels. Time for some green squirrels. Swirls in the water. Here we go. Oh, didn't really make a difference. There was a tiny swirl, but it didn't really, I don't know if it registered as much. Okay, that's good. So let's get this back over here. There, now I've got me two paints. I'm actually going to turn this around so that the yellow is closer to me. It's so far away. Okay, turning it around. Okay. Actually, I think I'm going to have to do this whole section because it all connects and I want it to be nice and smooth. So I am going to go to my size 4 because it holds more water, and I'll just be really careful around these really small pointy areas. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is just wet down the page and be as careful as we can. Oh, let's bring this back down. Be as careful as we can about keeping the water where we want the paint to be and not letting it go where we don't want the paint to be. Oops, got a little fleck of water on my hand and then it got on the painting. And we're just trying to dampen this entire section so that when we put the paint down it will smoothly flow. And the way you can tell, I don't know if you can tell on the stream, but the way you can tell if it's wet is if it's shiny. You can see the reflection of the light on the water. Just realized you can't really see what I'm doing. I'm going to move this. There. My tertiary camera. Move closer. This camera, this new one, is also nice because, so like right now, it's actually at like chin height. And I realize that means like right now, I don't have to worry about leaning too far forward and accidentally blocking the camera with my own head. Because this camera is right in front of me, so I know exactly where it is. And I can lean forward because this kind of thing, I need to lean forward and to the side in order to see that reflection on the water and to see where I'm putting the water. So this is really, really nice. By the time I get to the end, I'll probably add a little bit more water to the beginning because it'll have dried while I'm doing the rest. But it probably won't be completely dry, so I'll just need to add some water, and then the water itself will also move around more freely on the damp page. You also have to be careful not to put too much water, because if you put more than the page can hold, or the more than the page can suck up at that moment, it will just spill over into an area where you don't want it. Oh, that's it, because this is cut off here. Yay. Okay, so, like I said, I'm just going to put a little bit more toward the beginning. Just sort of tapping it and then letting it spread to the edge. That's good enough. Let's add the yellow first because it's a lighter color. So wherever I'm seeing a yellow blotch already, I'm just going to really enhance that with a big blotch. It's going to represent a sunflower without being an actual representational depiction. I don't know if that makes sense. Representative art is when you're actually drawing it. It's the opposite of abstract art. Abstract is when you're just sort of taking some aspect of the thing, working with that, but not really depicting it. Or changing some aspect of it to such extremes that it's no longer recognizable, etc. So representational art is basically what I do. I draw a griffin, it looks like a griffin. Maybe no one draws a griffin like I do, but anyway. Yes, this background is actually more abstract. That's what I'm getting at. It's an abstract depiction. I'm adding the pigment and then I'm going to spread it to the edges. For now, I'm just putting it in the middle so it'll get on there while it's still wet. So you can see the paint is starting to do its own thing already, which is great because that's what I want. I want it to look different from the stuff in the foreground, but still have some harmony. Let's kind of get that, oh, what is it called? It's a photography term. There's a photography, the depth of field. Imitating depth of field in photography. How the thing that's in focus is in focus and then everything else, because it's farther or way too close, is out of focus. That's what I'm going for here. So I don't want to draw literally 50 sunflowers because it will just be distracting. The main characters are actually not the sunflowers by themselves. It's the griffins. And then the sunflowers are the supporting character. Yay! Thank you! I'm so excited! I can't wait. I can't wait to play that. And since it's coming out in March, I can do a Suikoden birthday stream again. That's literally the last time I played Suikoden. Was that birthday stream I did in 2020, I think, because it was the pandemic. So, I mean, it's still the pandemic, but I was like, what am I going to do for my birthday? Because I always want to do a big birthday party. So I streamed Suikoden. That was the first and last time I streamed Suikoden, and it's also the last time I played Suikoden, even though it's my favorite game. I can't wait, and all the graphics are updated. Oh, it's going to be so good. Yay! What comes with the limited edition? I hope it's stuff that I can wear or use or display so that I can enjoy it instead of just something that... I mean, an art book or something would be cool too. But I'm really liking stuff that's like that tumbler and blanket that I got with my Sympathy Kiss game. Oh, the wall scroll, yay! Oh, that's gonna be great! I love wall scrolls. I wonder where, well, we should definitely hang it above our Suikoden shrine. For anybody else wondering what the heck Suikoden shrine is, we have a small bookcase and the wall behind it is dedicated to all our Suikoden stuff, and actually the bookcase has gotten not big enough for our huge Suikoden collection. So I'm just working this paint into the corners, bit by bit. I think this is going to look really nice when it's dry. Someone on DeviantArt, when I posted a update for this, like last month now, they're like, when is it going to be done? Like, I have no idea. I have no idea how long it'll take. But I'm really happy now because by starting the Imagine Naturalist series, I have taken the pressure off of myself to try to hurry and finish these big ones. When it's really hard to finish them so quickly, because that's the art I want to make is fine and highly detailed and many layered. So now I don't have to worry about speed as much because I can create a Imagine Naturalist piece anytime I need to create rewards for Patreon and I'm not yet done with one of these. And then I can get right back to work on this, which is exactly what I did last week and then this week. Last week did Imagine Naturalist. This week, back to the Griffins. Oh, okay. Good. I wonder if they're... well, English ones don't usually do that as much, but I wonder if there's going to be a similar kind of thing with English ones where there's multiple special editions. Someone on Facebook on my post about it said they're buying it for every platform. I don't really think we need to do that, but I just want it on the Switch. That's all I ever play anymore is a Switch. I love my Switch. There. So I brought a little bit of yellow over here. I think I'll actually try and... but this is all dry. Kind of want to add some yellow over here. Well, maybe if I only add the yellow. Add yellow over here. So that's on the other side of the leaf. So I'm going to wet the page. And just put a tiny little tap of yellow. Hardly anything. Especially right here, just teeny tiny. And a little bit. Boop, just a little bit right there. And then rinse the brush, and then use the damp brush to blend it. Yeah, that's all right. There, now we've got what looks like a hint of a sunflower behind. Oh, so we don't even have the systems. Anyway, yeah, there's no point just getting it to get it. I don't want to just have it sit there and not be able to use it. Though, one of us might have to buy a digital version because we probably both want to play it. Okay, I'm going to come back around onto this side and continue on. So we've got more yellow needing done here. So stop this. This is the edge right there. But let's continue now. Finish off this side and then we'll go over to that side. So definitely want to add some more yellow. Oh, okay. Yay, I don't have to worry about anything. You're going to get it on Steam then. We're good. Yay! I can't wait to play it. It's going to be so great. I am legitimately considering adding a day of streaming for Suikoden. I don't want to replace any of my work days. But just add another day. Add Saturday or something. Change up the Saturday schedule to be Suikoden streaming. Something like that. So there's these little teeny tiny triangles here in between the petals. All right, these are not petals. These are, what are they called? Rays. Gone over this a million times in my previous streams, but we learned all about sunflowers and how sunflowers, the middle part, are flowers too. That middle brown circled disc is full of teeny tiny flowers, and the things, what we would normally call them petals, are actually flat flowers. I'm gonna add a little bit more pigment down this one. I think I need a paper towel. I only have this black towel, some microfiber for setting my brushes on, but it's not swiping as nice as I'd like. It's not bad. Yeah, I'll make do with this for now. Instead of stopping. I don't want anything to stop me right now. I have been stopped by so many things in the past 4 or 5 weeks. I want to make progress on this. No excuses. It is almost break time. I think I'm going to have a snack on my break time. I might take a little bit extra longer break because I spent my whole morning pretty much setting up for this. I got the logistics done today, so like moving everything around physically in order to make it work. So I haven't had very much to eat yet today. I am getting pretty hungry. All right. Move this back. It's casting such a shadow on here. Okay. Man, yep, I'm so glad I did this because this looks so much better. It's super weird. I'm not even seeing the background. This foreground character is popping out way more because now I can see that having the background be so light, it's becoming a character in and of itself. It's standing out and popping forward instead of moving backward. So like I'm looking at this one, I'm like, wow, it looks 3D. All right, I think I got everything on. Oh, let's do these little tiny triangles here. Can I zoom in any closer? Haha, I can. There's these little spaces between those rays. Let's get those. I'm not even sure what I want to eat for my snack. Ooh, I've got an open package of Fruz balls. I think I'll have my last Fruz balls. That'll be good. Kind of want a sandwich. Maybe I'll make a sandwich. There, that's nice. Yay. Okay. Since I'm thinking of taking an extra long break so that I can eat some lunch, so I'm going to try to take a 10-minute break instead of a 5-minute break. I'm going to go on that break now. And then that way I'll be coming back at about my normal return time. So, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get OBS up. I am going to turn on my Be Right Back and mute my mic. I'm gonna go stretch, have a snack. I hope everybody else will take the opportunity to do the same. See you in about 10 minutes. everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. I enjoyed a couple of delicious snacks and I'm ready to get back to work. Okay, so I think I'm gonna have to do the same thing as last time in order to enhance the yellow and the green. So I don't want to, down here I just added only green. But up here, there's the yellow splotches in the background. I don't want to lose those, but I still want them to be really subtle and just fade into the green, just like I've got over here. So most of this area is connected. The only areas that are not are inside here, here, and here. So I'm going to do the same thing as last time and wet down the entire area first. So we'll do this segment here and then we can do this one. Because if we do the top one, what is relative top right now, then that one can be drying as we're working on this one. If we do it the other way, then the hand might get in the wet paint. So go back to my size 4 brush and just applying water to the page just to get it wet and allow the pigment, once we apply it, to move freely and not be hindered by dry paper. But it's got to be extra careful this time to not get the water where I don't want it, because there are really teeny tiny angles here with this sunflower that's way in the background. I'm so glad. Yesterday I was feeling really sick again, like as if I was getting sick again. But today, and it's not like I feel 100% better still. I feel a lot better. In the morning I wasn't sure, but now it's the afternoon and I'm feeling a lot better. So that's nice, because so far I haven't had to mute my mic because my coughs were so bad. Like last week I had to mute my mic constantly throughout all my streams. Not so today. So hopefully I'll keep getting better. My energy levels are like the biggest symptom still really bothering me. It's really tough to get going and stay going. And then the irony is, if I can't get going, once I finally get myself going, I can't stop working on whatever it is. And then so I end up late to bed because I was just like one-track mind. And then I'm tired from not getting enough sleep. So I'm going to try really hard to get to bed on time tonight. Heck, if I could get to bed early, that would be the best. Make up for lost sleep over the past few. It's only barely been bad over the past few days, I think. Maybe 4 or 5 days, so there's still time. Still time to catch up on my sleep. I'm going to do the same thing. It's Looks like it's already getting dry. Same thing as last time, apply more water. Especially these little thin areas would dry super easy. Just apply more water before I apply the pigment. Make sure the paper is nice and damp. Alright, hopefully that's good enough. We'll find out in a second. Just like before, I'm going to start with yellow. And now, adding green. It's perfectly fine that the green is mixing in with the yellow, because maybe that's leaves covering it, or showing the wind is blowing, or who knows what kind of organic thing is happening. This is just the background, so it's there to support the story, not be the story. Now I'm just working the paint into the edges, into the corners, anywhere that it didn't naturally go on its own. This part's really drying up. Gotta hurry. It's still damp enough that I was able to smooth out the edges, but it was getting really close to having a hard edge that I wouldn't have been able to work away. But I did it! I did it! I did it! Hooray! don't think there's any other major points that I missed. There's some I can refine here to make this a little sharper. Bring this a little closer to the sunflower ray. Make this one a little sharper. Sweet. Instead of moving on to this other side, I want to apply a little green to this couple spaces here. Then I'll feel like it's finished. This section is finished. I think this is going to make a huge difference. Even though the foreground has not changed at all, I still think the impact on the overall piece is going to be really big. So I'm already seeing it when I look over at this griffin in the top right. So when I am able to stop and look the whole piece over, I bet I'll really see. And then compare it to a previous work in progress image, then it'll stand out even more. I feel like I want to, and I'm doing it, I want to fill in these teeny tiny areas first, so I don't have to worry about it. I'm already in the fill in tiny areas mode. So let's just take care of this now. And then we'll do that final real big section. Man, I can tell I'm out of practice though. My hand is already starting to hurt. I guess it does wear your muscles out more to work on this really small, fine stuff. So that could be it too, but it's been over a month since the last time I worked on this painting, so it could very well be that my hand is out of practice. Yeah, this is really nice. This is like, how can I say this? Before it just looked like somehow there was just white sky behind them, even though we're doing a top-down, well, not top-down, a sort of 3/4 top-down view. It's from above. Our view is from above. So we shouldn't be seeing any sky. Well, that's what this was looking like, the background. So now it feels, let's say, grounded. I kind of want to say closed in, but that kind of sounds bad. Not in a bad way. What's causing this shadow? This? Is it the camera? What is this? There's a shadow right here. I don't know what it's from. This mystery. Oh well. Moving my lamps around to see what the mystery shadow is coming from. Is it this? No? Oh well. I'll figure it out. Oh, I see. It's this. There's a light here. And it's casting a shadow from my camera. That's something to keep in mind. I have so many cameras, it's hard to make the lighting work. But today's only my first day with this setup, so there's plenty of time to figure it out and fine tune. Oops. Oh, a little bit too much paint there. And I don't have a paper towel. I really do need one. Okay, got my paper towel. Now, it might be too dry to actually do anything. No, it looks like it's still wet, so I'm just going to take the corner. Sort of rub and buff and tap away. There. There's just a teeny tiny bit of paint. So I won't mess with that anymore. I'll just continue painting over this way. I just had a thought. I don't know if I'll remember it later. But this griffin that I'm painting around, I was thinking about how its feet are light gray. They're not black at all yet. But I thought maybe I should just keep this one this light. Or maybe only add a little bit of darker shadow here and there. Because it's so far away, we could help it look distant. Not just from its size, but by leaving some atmospheric perspective on it. Letting it look lighter than everybody else because it's so far away. And then if we were to do that, then this griffin and these two here would have the darkest shadows, because that will bring them forward. So I'm going to think about that. If I ever get to the point of adding more to the foreground. I'm sure it will. Okay, so now I'm coming back to that area where I dabbed away the paint. I painted a little bit too far and got some paint onto this sunflower ray. So just let it dry a little bit so that it wouldn't just go, the paint wouldn't just go right back on there. And then filled that in. Bit by bit, we're getting there. I think this is the last section that's closed off. And then the remaining section is all one big meandering piece. Okay. I actually could, there's just such a teeny tiny little spot right here. I could just go ahead and paint this. I think I shall. That'll make it a lot easier. Paint this part as if it is a separate section. Something else I've been thinking that I can do for the background would be with digital media and take some of these sunflowers and replicate them digitally. So maybe flip them, do something to make them look different. But then that way there's more sunflowers in the scene without having to draw a whole bunch of sunflowers by hand. So it's really hard to draw them around what I already have. Not just the drawing process itself, but the fact that if I were to take a graphite pencil and draw directly on this page now, those lines would look very different from the graphite lines that I have on here already, because these graphite lines were traced on. So they're lighter and more uniform. I'm just adding some more color to this lower section because the section above this leaf was looking darker, and there's no reason for such a stark change in green right at the point of that leaf poking out. So we'll see what this looks like after it dries. It looks a little too dark for this stuff on the other side of this stem as well, but this stuff is dry and it always dries lighter on watercolor, so I'll wait to see what I want to do for that. So for now, actually I'm going to see what happens if I lower my lamps so that there's not so much shadow being cast by the lamps hitting the camera. Well, it makes it hard to see my OBS screen over there, but hold on. My back is killing me. Back is killing me today because I've been at my computer. So I spent, what, like 6 hours on the computer yesterday and another 3 hours before now on the computer, and not normally sitting that much in a day. Whew, stretch just then. I think that really did help with the shadows. Can I pull this forward a little bit? Yeah. The irony is it's hard to tell if it helped with the shadows, because now the lamp is literally shining on my screen right where I would be able to see. So I have to sit off to the side a little bit, but it looks like there's a lot less shadow being cast by the lamps on the camera itself. So okay, so let's tackle this final area here. Same thing as we did here and here. Yeah, those were the areas where we did this. Adding water to make the page damp, and then we'll add the paint on top of that. all that water on, and I'm just going to do what I've done before and add a little bit more in the areas where I started, in case it dried out too much while I was finishing. And now, get some yellow paint. Apply it where I'm seeing these yellow spots. Actually seeing a lot of yellow here. It's almost exclusively yellow. We'll just do that. Okay. Now rinse the brush and get some green and fill the rest of the areas in with green. Rinsing my brush and swiping it off so that I can spread the pigment into all the corners. Bring a little yellow into this hole in the leaf here, since there should be some if there is yellow behind it. Of course, this is all just a flat piece of paper, so there's really no in front of or behind. Okay. There are actually a few more areas to touch up. Thought it was good. Thought it was done with working on the background for now. Okay, I'm just going to let that dry. It does seem like I'll want to add more green here because this is a lot lighter than this, and this is pretty much dry now. But I just want to let this dry first, and then I will come back and work with that a little bit. So while I wait for that to dry, what do I want to work on next? I kind of feel like I'm getting to the point where if I add some really dark darks, maybe I'll see where I am satisfied with the colors as is, and I'll see where I want to bring in darks elsewhere. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but I basically want to start adding the darkest colors now. And then if there's any areas that seem off or don't seem like they're matching that intensity, then I will work on those as well, because overall I've got pretty good shading already on a lot of things. So this one's looking a little bit flat, so maybe get a little more shading here, but this one, really happy with how they're looking, and I'm actually hesitant to add too much more, especially on, say, on these brown ones. I love this texture that I've got right here. And similar thing going on here, the way this shadow, that edge right there, and then this lighter part right here just looks so nice. So I don't want to lose that by working it too much. But their eyes for these griffins should be black. And a lot of their feathers are actually that dark. In the light, they're just dark gray, but in the shadow, they look black too. Their beaks also have a black line on the top. So that's what I want to work on now. See what kind of color seems good. Should I just go jump into black? I have an interesting like purpley black mixed right here. I'm not sure exactly. Maybe I'll wake this up because my straight out of the tube black paint is this one. But this one, you can see where it's peeling up here, and there's like a purplish color in there. And I like the idea of using paints, reusing paints that I mixed for other projects. I always enjoy doing that. So let's wake it up and just see what it looks like. I'll do a little test swatch in the margin. Yeah, I think it's like a really dark gray. Oh, let's raise the camera up so you can actually see what I'm doing. Whee! This is so fun that I could do this. Oh, this is not straight. That's why my camera was fine. Boop. There. You can see me waking up this dark gray. Yeah, I don't know if it's dark enough, actually. Now that I've woken it up, it looked black, but it's definitely got some white mixed in there because it's a more pastel. It's very similar to this color. So I can add some black to that, or I can just go dip straight into here. Either way, I'll have to wake this black up, so I guess I'll work on that next. This will be noticeable when I put this back in here. Look at that. Neat swirls in there. This black is all broken up into crumbles, so I want to make sure to get enough water on it to sort of cover them all. Look how neat this looks. The way the paint is coming up into the bristles like that. I think that looks so cool. So now I'm just working these clumps of paint, trying to break off as much pigment, dry pigment, into the water that I've placed in here as possible. So it'll be a nice rich paint when I put it on the page. And I think I'll just go ahead and use the black. I've done so many layers of paint. I feel like I want to make some bold strokes. I've been really subtle and careful. But when I look at this piece now, especially after adding that darker green and yellow in the background, it's looking really flat and it needs some really dark colors to help it have more depth and more interest. paint's still looking, the wet paint is still looking kind of thin, so that's why I'm continuing to brush and brush and brush. I think that's good enough. Now I'm just going to tap. Trying to get as much paint out of the brush as possible. Because anything left in this brush is just going to get rinsed away in the bowl here, so. Looks like that's all I can really get out. Okay, that's good. Set this back over here. Okay, here comes some big swirls in the secondary camera here. Woo! Hold on. I'll just let you watch that before I continue swiping my brush. That's so cool. I love it. So fun to watch. Oh, and then where drop falls off the brush. Looks like some magic potion. Now it's getting so dark you can't really see it on the camera though. Okay. I'm just rinsing out everything I can. I'm definitely gonna have to wash this brush properly to get the rest of this pigment out. But the more I can rinse out now, the less hard I'll have to work when I wash the brush. Okay. So let's start with the feet. Look at some of these brown ones. Yeah, I think in the shadows, the feet, some of the feathers, and the beaks on the blue ones have black. But all of their eyes should be black. But on the brown ones, there's no black streak on the beak. And their feathers, let's see. That's a pretty mild lighting situation. I wonder if I can see I'm looking at my sort of gallery of reference images. Yeah, I guess when it's in the shadows, some of their feathers look dark enough to be black. Okay. So, I'm going to get this smaller brush that I was using earlier, the size 1. And a little bit black paint. Okay. Here we go. Trying to add shadows to the feet. I like how that is, but let's rinse this brush out and soften it. Rinse paint out, and we just want a damp brush. I'm going to soften these edges a little bit. actually pretty hard to do. So I'm going to take the paper towel, gently touch, and then that will pull some of that paint off. There. I just realized my big camera is way far away again. Push it back down. Eee. Yeah, like this kind of material is all right for setting my brushes on because sometimes they're really wet, and if I set them on a paper towel it goes all the way through. But they're not that great for absorbing the water when I'm trying to just get a damp brush for a little subtle technique like this. So I have to make sure I have a paper towel at hand and fabric towel. So I'm still just softening edges. Just gently working the paint. There, that's pretty good. So the light is coming from this direction. So this foot's going to be way darker than this one. This one I'll just put a little touch of black and soften that. Chappie just did a sigh. I don't know if the mic caught that, but little dog Chappie, she's all curled up to my right here. Got a little more dark than I wanted, so I'm using a towel to pull away, and we'll just add a tiny bit more back. Now Aoife just did a sigh. Okay, let's leave that one for now. I think it needs to dry before I do anything more on it. There's some parts of the wing over here I think could use some too. Use some of this black. Just on the side of the body that's in shadow. That's really nice. Yay. I'm gonna add just a little outline on the other wing. Oh, I don't have enough water. My bristles are coming apart. Doing a little on this side. I hope to show the shape of the wing, that there's a little dimension. The feathers aren't perfectly flat. They're not two-dimensional. They're three-dimensional. No, that seems a little bit much, so I'm going to do the same thing I did with the other part. Lift some up. Ah, perfect. So now it's got a really nice curve to it. If this is dry enough, might be dry enough to add a little bit to that foot that I'm having a little bit of trouble with. That's much better. Now, trying to soften the edges. Okay, let's leave that. Don't want to mess with it too much, but keep messing with it. Okay, so I think I'm done with this bird. Well, Gryphon. Let's move on to this one. So we need that line down the beak. Rinse the brush, dry it off, and then try to soften those edges. It's really tough though. The black paint is so powerful. It's like, I will be complete shadow wherever I am. That's looking better. Let's do more paper towel. Just a little touch on that edge. And it's important when you're doing this to find a clean and or dry part of the towel. Otherwise you can end up putting paint back down where you're trying to get it off. There. That's pretty good. And we've got these feet and the feathers. Scroll back up to actually it's break time. Well, I'm just going to open this reference image, have that open so that I can use it as an example of which feathers need to be way darker, but I will leave this right here and go take a nice 5-minute break. So I hope everybody else will also, I'm already starting to stretch, will also take the opportunity to get up, walk around, stretch, give your eyes a break, take some water, whatever. I will be back in 5 minutes. Hello everyone, I'm back. I hope you had a great break. It's time to finish up the last 3 minutes of this stream. Got my reference open here. Let's see, zoom in closer. It's actually kind of hard to see because my lamp is now so low that it's covering it up. Maybe if I put it right there. Okay. So I just want to see which feathers need to be painted much darker using this black paint. Ooh, and I love how this dried. That looks really nice. I might even be able to put a little bit more. But I'll do everything else first. And then we'll see where we need more. So definitely, these feathers don't seem to be that dark. But it's when we get down to these ones that it starts to look almost like a different color feather, and maybe it is. Maybe these ones are a different color than these ones, so I'm going to start here, start adding the black paint. Okay, now I'm rinsing the brush, but keeping it pretty damp because now I want to spread this paint out. I'm trying to move quickly so that paint doesn't dry. So put it across all of the feathers, but I have to work each feather one at a time. Now I'm keeping the black to the area where the feathers are overlapping, which creates a darker area. This one I need more pigment. But let's work the whole thing first. These are already getting dry. There we go. Okay, send it out again. And then just, right. It won't dry off enough on the microfiber towel. Ooh, that's really nice. I think actually I am going to bring it down further. Because now that I compare this to what I'm seeing in my reference image over here, it needs to be darker. So let's bring it down. let's get this feather underneath. Oop. Brush wasn't wet enough. This honestly isn't my favorite brush to work with. Something about it doesn't seem to operate the same as my other round watercolor brushes. Like, it gets dry, but it still has a bunch of pigment in it, and then it releases the pigment, but all the bristles of the brush are separated, so it's making a weird texture, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure exactly what it is. But this is the one I've been using, so I'm just going to keep using it for consistency throughout this piece. Bringing some lines up here to give some feathery texture to these white feathers that are above. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I want a little bit more black pigment on this feather. This one really close to the body. It should be pretty dark because it's being shaded by the body and it has multiple feathers underneath it, more than the other ones next to it do. So I think it would be one of the darkest feathers on this wing. Really liking this sort of natural texture that's starting to develop in this area. Looks so cool. I like it. So let's do a similar thing over here. I realize you're probably not really seeing what I'm working on on this tertiary camera there. Now it's showing it properly. If I move on to some color other than black today, then I will definitely have to change my water. So it's fine that the water is super black right now because I'm working with black paint anyway, but definitely don't want to bring that in to some other color. Okay, so I'm going to do these same little tiny lines. Give that nice feathery texture to the white feathers above. And I'm tempted to pull a little away, but I don't want to mess with it because I like how this is looking. just not really matching with over here, but this is drying and this is still quite wet. I mean, they're both drying technically, but this one is much more wet than this one, so maybe as it dries it will start to match more and I'll like it better. So we'll just leave that. There are some gray feathers across the back right here, but I guess we should wait for that and focus on just these areas where it has actual black, or as close to black in nature as you can get. I'll add a little bit more to this line on the beak. All right, let's move over here, I think. Let's see if I can find a reference image that corresponds with this position. Yeah, maybe something like this, because this is one of those ones that's a mix between the brown and the blue patterning. So these feathers are still brown, but these ones are getting black. You can hear Jappy is snoring away. She has been for a while. Man, all these feathers have this sort of lighter edge. So I'm doing my best to retain that too. I think she's having a dream too. She's not just snoring. Now she almost sounds like she's laugh snoring. Oh, my hand is getting really sore. 40 minutes left. Hang in there, hand. Yay. That looks pretty good. So, moving along. Let's work on this one. First, this dark streak on the top of the beak. Did not mean to rhyme just then, but I did. And then let's soften it a bit with a little damp paintbrush. Here I'm adding a line not to be a coloration, but just a shadow on the bottom edge of the beak. And then the eye, let's paint it. Nice, super dark. It's the darkest thing on these creatures. It's like they're nothing but pupil. Oh, my computer fans are ramping up. Oh, yes. I think adding black is really what we needed next because the whole piece is looking so much more, I don't know, so much more. It's looking so much more. I don't know if this camera, yeah, little camera's not really looking at what I'm working on again. There, moved it. Moved it so it's looking over here. Fans on my PC are going crazy. And they're calming down. Calming back down. It's a little bit warm in here. I'm not sweating or anything. It's not as warm as it was back we were in that crazy heat wave in July, but maybe it's hot enough for the PC to be like, oh God, red alert. Usually the fans ramp up when I like turn on Photoshop while I am also streaming or something. I'm not doing anything special on the computer other than streaming. Just must be getting too warm over there. Well, that's why it has those powerful fans, so it can take care of itself. Yay! Okay. The next one on the list is actually this one, and I was thinking earlier about not making it too dark because it'll help it sit back in space if we keep it more gray than black. So maybe I will use this gray color that I woke up earlier instead of black. So I can still have the really dark eyes just like everybody else, but it'll be done with a lighter color. So hopefully that will... Oh, the fans are going crazy again. Oh, and it's so small. This is so small. I need to switch to my tiny brush. I think I will. I've got this little size 0. Holds even less pigment in water, but it has a super nice teeny tiny tip, so that's exchange. Okay, got that black mark on its beak. That's already a little bit too much. There. I think that's alright. Oh, maybe see if I can take a little bit more off. Since it's so small, it dries really fast too. So it's hard to do the dab away technique because it dries almost instantly. So it's tiny, tiny, tiny. Okay. Phew. If I can pull away a little bit from right here. Alright, that's good enough for that fellow, I think. I think the only other part's to add some black for now. Oh, I didn't do these feet. Is this dry? Let's add some to these feet. I forgot about the feet. So I'm back to my size 1 round brush. Added a lot of texture to this one because these are the closest feet to the viewer. So we can show those lovely scales that birds have on their feet. And just softening it up. Splash some water. Yeah, I like that. I think I might like to do the same treatment on this foot, but this is drying, so I don't want to move this way. Let's go over here. Work on this beak and this eye. Really simple. Oh, this is going to be way too much paint. I had already done a little bit on here, but we're going to take it to the next level here. Yep, it's so nice with this strong contrast. Especially since it doesn't dry that dark compared to how it looks when it's wet. It's really good to get this on here. I'm going to try using my paper towel. Soften the edges. Nice. Nice. Add a little bit more water. Soften it even more. I'm just going to keep working this until I like the shape. I'm pulling away on the side that I think would be catching the most light. That's pretty good. do I want to work on next? Anywhere else I want to add more black? Yes, there was this foot. Basically, I want to keep working with black as long as possible so that I don't have to change my water. It's only half an hour to go. But I don't know if I have half an hour of black watercolor work to do. Yes, it's much better. That's what I needed to do before. Use my tiny brush. So now I feel like these are equals. This one was so dark. It made sense for it to be darker because it's on the shadowed side of the griffin, but this one just didn't look like it matched at all. So now both feet on this griffin look like they match. Suppose I could add a little bit more black in these feathers. That they look like they're lighter than black, but the areas where they're overlapping could be a little darker. Once again, little camera not looking at what I'm working on. I have to be aware of it, since obviously it's not gonna like track on its own or something. I just have to move it. Oh yeah, looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Thought so. Thought it was going to be a little too much. Let's do this side. Trying to see. Okay. Little camera, tertiary camera is pointing at it. that's it for black for now. I want to bring everything else up now. Like I said, now that I have the most extreme color, and there's some gray I could add on the back of this Gryphon here. So I'm going to put my Be Right Back on just for a little bit so that I can change this water because it is almost as black as the black paint. Shouldn't take too long. I will be right back. I'm back. Got my fresh water. Yay, look at it. So fresh and clean. Okay. So, I was thinking of doing some gray next, specifically on the back of this one Gryphon. Let me get back to that reference image that showed that pattern. I don't think it was too far down. Maybe. Oh, here we go. It was this one. There we go. Alright, yeah, it goes all the way across, and even there's a little bit you can see, almost a scale effect, and it might just be the feathers lifting up out here on the wings too. So I'm going to get my size 4 brush, and I think I'll just start. It's really soft, so I'll just start by adding a little section of water in the area where I'm seeing it. We'll do wet on wet for here, and then we'll bring it out into the wings. And it's just gray, so I'll just get some of this gray that I woke up earlier. Let's see what that looks like. Oh yeah, that's actually pretty good. Just patting it into the area where I put that water down. And then let's do little touches with the brush. Yes, that's awesome. The same thing on the other side. Oh, it's much darker. Gotta try to get this same level this side as I had on the other side. A little bit more water. Oh, now it's too light. Ah, it's so hard to make it match. Of course, it doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical, because even in nature things aren't perfectly symmetrical. And the same sort of thing seems to be happening down the back as it goes toward the tail as well. Let's do the same dotting thing. It seems a bit strong, so let's also dab away a little bit. Lighten that up. Ooh, that's so nice. Look at that nice texture. Can't make the camera much closer. Okay, that's as close as it gets, so I also still have to pick it up, but look at that. Ooh. There is a little gray on the head and stuff too, but it's not as pronounced. So we can just do a separate wet area. Let me raise the camera back up. I'd like to have the whole piece in there. So we're going to do the same thing. Get some water on the head. And then just add a little gray. Hopefully this one will be a little more subtle. Ooh, 10 minutes. 10 minutes left in this stream. Bring it down a little bit. But I do see a relatively distinct differentiation between the neck and the back. It might just be because the reference I'm looking at, the bird is lifting its head a bit. But this one could be lifting its head too, so. Okay, I see a few areas where I can add a lot darker marks. Right here, there's little black for what I can see, because the reference image is pretty far away, of course, this little bird is flying. But they seem just as black as these feathers down here, so let's add those little spots. Something like that is what I'm seeing. Maybe coming down even a little farther. Yeah, it definitely comes at least halfway down this white band of feathers. So let's say we'll do that. Have it get smaller and smaller, fade. There. Okay, so let's do the same thing on this side. Turn it this way so I can make the shape about the same on both sides. It's a little more messy on this side, but that's fine. It doesn't have to be perfect. Let's clean it up a little bit using the brush facing the other way. There. Ooh. This front griffin is getting so detailed and nice. This is the part where I feel like a big sigh of relief, because when you're in the middle, it feels like it's not coming together, but it's just because you're in the middle. And then at this point, it really is starting to come together, and there's hardly anything to do depending on where you're looking. And it's just such relief, like, oh, okay, it is gonna be okay after all. So maybe that seems silly, but I have that feeling every single time. Every single time I make a piece. It doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't matter the media, physical, digital, mix, water, dry. Doesn't matter the size either, if it's one of these, let's say, well thought out illustration pieces. If it's just a drawing of something, I don't really have that. If I just want to draw a fox or something, I don't really have that issue, but yeah, something with a little bit more planning required, and then it feels like, oh no, it's never going to come together right. It's going to look like this forever. I'm past that point. Hooray! I am looking at it now to see what do I want to work on, because there's only 5 minutes left. A big thing that caught my eye just now is too big to work on in only 5 minutes. What it is as I'm seeing in my reference image this field of sunflowers move off into the background, the ones in front are darker and have a lot more details showing. So I'd kind of like to... These ones are actually pretty detailed, but they're far enough away that I feel like I'd like to add even more to this group here, especially shading. But that's such a huge undertaking. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow. So now I'm just looking. Is there any other little thing I can add? I could work on this one's. I've noticed this one's body is looking really flat, and this one, I like this darker brown. This yellowish lighter brown here could be darkened to match with that dark brown that we added earlier, as actually added black, thinned out black on top. So I guess I should start over here. Find a color that looks like a nice shadow color for that. Got this dry patch of brown that looks really close to that color. Might have even been what I used for this one here. So let's just see what adding some of this does. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now I'm just gonna rinse the brush, leave it a bit damp so that I can drag the color up and it'll fade nicely to the lighter point. There. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Hooray! That was easy. There, that matches much better with the colors around it. So next, this one's belly. Let's work on this one's belly. I'm not sure what color would be good to make this darker. I don't really remember what color I used in the first place. Maybe I'll just really thin out the color I just used. Let's see what, just see what it's like. Oh, it might be too vibrant. but just try spreading this out. It could still work. And we still need more shadow. Maybe I'll just get some gray in here. Shadows are generally gray. Since these feathers are so light, adding more color probably isn't the answer. Let's put some gray in here. Bring it onto this foot too. That's looking much better. Might still need more work, still looking a little bit flat. But overall, when you look at the entire character, I think there's much more roundness happening, because I'm imagining it's basically like a sort of barrel shaped body. I don't want to add any more to the belly here because I want this to dry before I touch it some more. Oh, perfect. We're at time, so we can call this good. So let me do a little show and tell. Progress we made today. We did so much work, 3 hours of work. Got the background painted in more, added lots of black all over the place, really adding depth, dimension, and then worked a little bit on shadows here and there. It's coming along nicely. I feel like there's not that much left, which is another one of those feelings that when you're in the middle of a piece, it feels like it will never be over. What did I do? Why did I do this to myself? No, I feel like, oh, I can see it. It's probably, like, I don't think I'm going to finish this tomorrow, but I think that there's a good chance of finishing it this summer, which is what I wanted to do, because this is the Summer Gryphon, and I couldn't finish it last summer. Okay, so we're going to call this good. There's only 2 of us, so I wonder if I should raid someone or just call it good and take a break. I am feeling really tired today, so yeah, I think let's just call it good today. I'm not gonna raid today. I really am so tired, so we'll call it good. And just with 2 of us, I bet it's me and Tishump. Anyway, so let's just say this is good. Done with streaming for today. I hope everybody enjoyed the new setup, new camera, new layout. I'm so happy. This is I didn't do any test runs, so this was a successful test run of it as well. I don't feel like I need to change anything. So I will be back tomorrow with more progress on this illustration piece, same time as usual. Hope to see you then. Thank you for watching.